Let's close. I'd like to call this meeting to order with pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
President Graham.
Here.
Crosby.
Here.
Clayton.
Here.
Burger.
Here.
Burger Brown.
Moving on to item number 1, minutes of the regular meeting held July 11th, 2024.
Make a motion to be written.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to item number 2, committee reports. I think
All the best. Your executive committee met on the 18th for agenda setting. And your general litigation committee met on the 23rd with friends of the Santa Maria Airport and discussed a number of tenant issues. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions from you? Nope. Moving on to item number 3, general manager report.
I want to just update you. I participated in a webinar on the 16th, accompanying Deep Fin that manufacturers involved with drone detection. Very informative. Along the same lines, there's an email I received from the American Airports Council International, which is an Air Force Association. And they shared an email where there's some legislation that's in the queue from federal legislation that involves reauthorization, new authorization of Department of Defense, FAA, Homeland Security, I believe Department of Justice, to continue their research in regards to drone defense protection. And there's another part called mitigation, which is actually addressing the government. I think it's a legitimate issue, concern. I think it's also in the realm of the federal government where they have to be in the lead, and we have to comply with what they were willing for us to adopt. And it really gets into airspace issues, which is the realm of the federal government. So while I support us participating and be concerned about it, trying to figure out how to go about it on our own seems a bit challenging. But they're in the closing phase, or supposed to be over very soon. The project program between the FAA and 5 international airports in the country on this very issue, looking at systems, which one should be adopted along those lines. The TSA has a separate program that project they're working on, a pilot project in Elvis. So I don't think we are in a position to be in the vanguard. It's coming, and we need to educate ourselves and monitor what the industry is doing and be prepared to get on board with it. So I just wanted to share that. We had a meeting with SoCal Gas. There's an easement that's on your agenda that's tied to this project. The project, assuming it all comes together, wouldn't occur until next summer. But SoCal Gas, a mobile home park program that we're eligible for, where they would, with their funding, come in and replace the mains and meters and what have you for the mobile home park. So that's a project we're working on. We had a safety risk management panel meeting 24th yesterday in preparation for the slurry runway 30 that we discussed. We meant to have it already done, but we ran into that project done, but we ran into the fact that California won't allow the type of quick curing slurry that we're hoping to use because of air quality issues. So we have to go with a more traditional state permissible one, which takes longer to cure and requires that you have to be dry and warm with rising temperatures, which means you can't do it in the middle of winter when we were scrambling to do the emergency work. So we don't have specific dates set, but we completed a preliminary process of meeting with Surface, air traffic control, FAA, and going through how we're going to do the project to make sure that we do not create any unnecessary hazards or risk. Met with the public works director for the city today. We're working on, there's a number of projects between our water wells and mostly water well issues where they need easements. The well 6 project where we have that temporary line running across our property. They have that project designed, ready to build, but there's easement issues. There's a well, I think they're calling it well 15, so additional, the daisy chain of wells they have on the west side of the airport property. They want to, this has been long planned and it's in their long-term planning to add an additional well so they can increase their capacity and meet their plannings. So there's an additional easement that's been discussed and we talked about that. I'm hoping, it won't work next week, but I'm hoping the following week we can get your real estate committee together and sit down with Public Works and get a briefing on
So
what they're proposing
these are easements between us and the city.
in the city regarding water lines. We had a meeting for Open Streets, as we've talked about before. We're going to participate in the city's Open Streets on Sunday, October 6th. We had a lunchtime meeting downtown. Tomorrow, we're going to, Rick and I are going to be meeting with SoCal Gas, do a project walk on the pipeline realignment. When we get out there and do the detailed planning, where they're going to stage, any other things we need to sort out to make sure that project continues. We had a meeting last week and we're still on the path to start in October. They're very much aware that Airfest is going to happen. They don't interfere in that with that at all. I talked to Jane with Plains of Fames. She's okay under certain circumstances if we need to do a staging area on what is now the Plains of Fame leasehold. So we're working on making that happen.
Are they talking about horizontal drilling or going to do horizontal drilling or?
I couldn't get into the details of the planning. I think it's all open trench and repaving in the road. I'd be assuming that I got into the engineering or what have you. I'll ask them tomorrow. Most of it, well, except for airport, balance of it's in ag fields.
Right.
So, as we talked about before, I think the last meeting, the U.S. Air Force is holding a very robust exercise that's regional, involves also the Navy and Marine Corps, and we're playing a part in that exercise the week of August 5th, and we will be the host of 14 F-35s. We're working with the Air Force now with their public affairs folks to help us prepare a public press release. So we hopefully early next week let folks know what will be coming the following week. We also, some silver lining in that, I was talking to Representative Civil Air Patrol and said, any chance any of those folks to come over and talk to us at our August 6th meeting? And our court of contact said, sure, absolutely. So we're hoping to have some of them come over and say hello to the Civil Air Patrol that evening of August 6th. So that's what I have.
Moving on to item number 4, Manager of Finance and Administration report.
Mr. President, I've provided the memo to keep the review and approval.
I've read through it and big numbers, so I make a recommendation that we.
And this not occurs like every month or something, this is just out of the ordinary, this time, is that right?
Yes, correct. At the beginning of the fiscal year, we have several things that come due. We obviously have our every quarter, so that number is every quarter, but the insurance number and the Chamber of Commerce numbers are numbers that only occur at the beginning of the year.
I'll second it.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Moving on to item number 5, public session. Statements from the floor will be heard during public session. Request to speak forms are provided for those wishing to address the board. After completing the form, please give it to the clerk. Requests requiring board action will be referred to staff and brought on the next appropriate agenda. Members of the public are cordially invited to speak on agenda items today occur. Staff reports covering agenda items are available for review in the offices of the general manager on the Tuesday prior to each meeting. The board will establish a time limit for receipt of testimony, in this case 3 minutes. The board reserves the right to establish further time limits for receipt of testimony. You still have seconds. Okay, we don't have any public requested speak forms, so moving on to item number 6. Authorization for the general manager to attend the annual ACA conference to be held October 1st to the 4th, 2024 in South Lake Tahoe, Iowa.
Thank you, Mr. President. I provided the budget in your packet. This is a relatively inexpensive conference. We have scheduled 3 for this year so far, and the second one, I believe, is on Gen, and the budget was a bit higher because I believe there's only one person attending this one.
If I could just add, there are several air service development programs that I think you've already approved. 2 people attend, myself included. I'm not going to participate in any of the air service travel. So that will free up and reduce our travel budget demands.
Make the motion, we approve it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to item number 7, resolution 938, a resolution of the board of directors of the Santa Maria Public Airport District amending the district conflict of interest code.
Thank you, Mr. President. So every 2 years, state law requires that your board review its conflict of interest code under state law. The airport has adopted a standard conflict of interest code by reference, so we're not really touching the basics of who reports, what you report, what the deadlines are. That's all in state law. There are changes, though, that I'm recommending that you adopt today. Nothing, again, about the way that you report or that staff reports, who reports what, by when, none of that's changing. These are all technical changes. This includes an update to how the form is submitted. We're catching up with the internet age. It says that you should probably submit it online, and I think all of you are already familiar with how to do that. One other thing that I think is just worth clarifying for the record is that if you look at that Appendix A, it looks like you as board of directors and the GM are coming out of the designated positions. So if you look at that list, it starts with legal counsel. You're pulled up. The reason for that is that you all are automatically included as, quote, officials who manage public investments. And so you're already automatically included in that list. And that clarification is provided at the bottom of the second page as a footnote, just clarifying for you and for members of the public that, of course, you all as elected officials are required to file the Form 700. So I'll just take a quick moment to take this opportunity to remind you and any members of the public who might be running in this year's election that your positions do require a Form 700 Statement of Economic Interests. As sitting directors, your Form 700s are due each year on April 2nd to Santa Barbara County. And you should already be familiar, of course, with how to file, and candidates must file when they declare that candidacy. So with that, I'm open to any questions, but otherwise we do recommend that you have these changes that we forwarded to the Santa Barbara County Board of Supervisors.
Make the motion to
I'll second it. We have a motion and a second for the resolution.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Director Basket,
Yes.
Director Clayton,
Yes.
Director Adams.
Yes.
Thank you, Danny. Moving on to item number 8, resolution 939, a resolution of the board of directors of the Santa Maria Airport District approving a grant of easement to Southern California Gas Company.
Mr. President, this is the easement that supports the mobile home park SoCal gas improvements that I discussed during the regional manager report. And request your commission to approve it.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Second. We have a motion and a second.
Commissioner Moreno,
Yes.
Director Basket, Director Clayton,
Yes.
Director Adams?
Yes.
And with that, we move on to closed session after a 5-minute break. Good, Lord. We exit closed session with no reportable actions. Moving on to item 10, director's comments.
We have a lot of exciting stuff that's going to come to fruition, which I'm excited about. And, that's all I have to say.
You're definitely heading in the right direction. I keep saying that, but I mean, it's getting closer and closer. We got the right staff on board. We're nailing this, and then we're gonna tell everybody what we're doing and move on. So no comments, and we're doing good.
Last century, there was a very famous economist by the name of Milton Friedman. You read about him every week in a lot of the newspapers. Very influential in our government, financial accounting, and accountings. And he made a statement that I'll read. Milton Friedman. One of the great mistakes is to judge policies and programs by their intentions rather than their results. And this board passed some time ago, a 50% rate hike on our tenants and our citizens. And there was a letter that I read that had been given to me at the time and said, there's a big mistake. It's going to result in the results that are resulting in diminishing income for the airport rather than the expected increase. So I hope we have the wisdom to put that back on the table in the near future and take away some of the disruptions that we caused, some of the pain that's been caused, some of the, more empty hangars that's been caused. And so I'd like to see this put back on the agenda and let's make some amendments to it. So far, there have been no results, positive results that I've seen, that actually result in any more income to the airport. So that's my comment for you.
Nothing to
That's amazing. It's been pretty turbulent over the past few months, but now we're smooth sailing and it's looking great. With that being said, thank you, make a motion.
Yeah, motion. I'll second.
I'll second it.
Motion second, third, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.